Hey everybody, Corey here again. Today we're going to talk about CC Deville and why everyone hates him so much. Hey, what's up everybody? Let's talk a little about CC Deville. I have always been puzzled as to why there is so much hate for this guy when it comes to his playing. He's kept off the magazines. It's always it's like CC Deville is a thing that never happened. But Poison very much was. I mean, Poison was a massive band in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, in that era. Their songs were huge. When you think of those songs, they make you think of that time. You'll still hear them when you go see an 80s cover band. You'll still see people playing Poison songs at local bars and things when you go see a cover band. Yet everyone seems to hate his guts. So I've been trying to wrap my brain around it. I joke, when you go to songs like Talk Dirty to Me, I mean, that's a great riff. The whole song is great, guitar-wise. It's good riffs, it's fun to play. He's dealing with chromatics and double stops and playing all over the fretboard, all the things that, in my opinion, have always made a great guitar solo. And truth is, I love that solo. It's fun to play. It's a good warm-up. I like that it moves you around. But why does everybody seem to forget that or hate it? And I have a theory. My theory is that, frankly, CC's tone stunk. When you think of listening to a Poison song, you always think of either a Tube Screamer or DS1, dimed out, all the distortion you can get, a little bit of chorus behind it, maybe a boss chorus probably in that time, giving it that 80s tone, but pretty on the thin side, without the thickness of a Warren D. Martini or a George Lynch. Not that much difference in playability, but definitely a difference in the overall sound of his guitar. The truth is another huge guitarist whose tone kind of stunk too. We don't like to talk about it because it pisses people off, but Randy Rhoads' tone was just bad. I don't know how you can sound bad through an old Marshall stack that sounds great normally. I don't know for sure what his signal chain was. I've never looked into it. I'm just kind of on the surface here talking about it. First and foremost, I love Randy. Randy was excellent. Many of his riffs are among my favorite to play. Some of them I still can't. I still keep trying to wrap my brain around a few things. But his tone was pretty weak. If you go back and listen to Crazy Train, the rest of the music sounds good, but the guitar feels like something's missing. I mean, the parts are right, the notes are there, and despite all of that, it's still amazing. But the sound itself, it's kind of lackluster in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of people that feel that way about Randy. The question is, why are some guys able to have that kind of bad tone and other ones be hated forever? I mean, CC Deville is literally the Nickelback of rock and roll guitar at this point. And frankly, it's unjustified. Sure, there are differences in recording qualities in that era, but that wasn't the reason for his tone. I mean, his tone was obviously mostly his choice. I mean, there were some changes in the recording process, and live he usually sounds better. But the truth of the matter is, it's just too much distortion more than anything, and too much low end or mids rolled off. And those combine for kind of a weak sound instead of that powerhouse you got from George Lynch with Dokken. But when you go back and you analyze Poison's catalog and you really sit down and listen to the songs, there's some great stuff. CC's solos are always blowing through, chromatics and double stops and octave ranges, and he's a serious shredder, which a lot of people don't respect the way they used to. That was a big deal in the 80s. Everyone had to be a shredder. If you weren't, you pretty much didn't make it. But that was, he checked all those boxes. I mean, when you listen back to even the ballads like Every Rose Has Its Thorn or Something to Believe In, those had very memorable solos in them. Like, to this day, I can sit here and hum them out in my head. And there's a lot of songs you can't do that with anymore. Especially nothing very modern, unless you get into, bands like Dirty Honey and Rival Sons. I mean, the bands are out there, but as far as the mainstream goes, that's not the case. And when you get into Poison's, the early stuff is even pretty heavy. I mean, Look What the Cat Dragged In album has several rather heavy songs. Look What the Cat Dragged In itself is heavy. I mean, that's an intense riff at the beginning. It's not a hard riff. It's super easy. But it's thick, it's deep. And the truth is, I think his tone fell off after Look What the Cat Dragged In. The early album, it's a little better. But that particular song it's great. It's simple. And it has more of a shredder solo, but not that was bad at the time. It's what people wanted to hear. They wanted to hear lightning fast riffs, stuff that I can't do if my life depends on it. I've got the stubbiest hands in the world, and the idea of shredding, I've tried and tried and tried for 25 years, and I just can't get there. Still trying, mind you. I haven't quit. And I get closer than I used to, but not close enough. I'm going to do it right here. But I just feel like CC's kind of gotten a bum rap. I'm not saying he's one of the greatest guitarists ever, but he's also not the worst. I think he falls in that range where, there are people that are bad and you know they're bad. And then there are people that you think are good, or they're on the low end of good, maybe. And that's where I think people get a lot of hate. Same happened with Mick Mars. I mean, that was unjustified. We'll do a video on Mick Mars one day too, because it's a similar story. But these old Poison riffs are great. They're fun to play. You play them in a bar, people jump up and dance. People still want to hear it. If it's that awful, but no, I'm not going to say that because there's a lot of awful shit played in bars these days. Have to rethink that. But what I'm saying is, take a few minutes sometime, sit down, and listen to some of their old catalog. Listen to Flesh and Blood, Open Up and Say Look What the Cat Dragged In, that era, those first 3 albums. And I think you'll find that he's better than you remember. That's kind of what happened to me. It was the other day, what sparked this video is I was on, I think it was Reddit, and there was a thread about it. I thought, really? Was he that bad? I got to reading and people just ate him alive. I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. And I got to listening, and frankly, it made even less sense. I didn't jump on and throw myself to the wolves to defend his honor. But, it is what it is. And the more I looked, the more I felt like, what, he was pretty good. Basically, all I'm saying is there's no justification for the hate and shit talk about the guy. He's good. I mean, like I said, he's no DeMartini. He's no George Lynch. But he's definitely not Lil Wayne either. We saw him play guitar. So, back off. Let a guy do what he does. If you don't like the music, don't listen. That's what we all do. If you don't like the video, don't watch. It's kind of the rule. But all in all, I kind of dig CC still. And matter of fact, after preparing for this, I dig him more. So I ask you, go do that, man. Check out the old songs. See what you think. You might be surprised. I'd like to thank everyone for taking a minute to watch this video and just hang out with us. It takes a lot of time to put these together, so we're always grateful when someone takes the time to sit down and watch and comment. Let's have a talk. Let's chat about it. Tell me why you agree or disagree. And if you want to do that personally, you can shoot me an email at armchaircorey@gmail.com. I usually get back when you do. Just hit me up. And if you don't mind, please like the video, hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this or any of our other ones, and please check out the other ones. This one's a little out of the norm for us. So, we'd love to have you back in this part of the community. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.